Okay, imagine this. A city where the air just feels heavy,
Mm.
where taking a breath is something you actually think about, and the sky is just always this kind of dull gray.
Yeah.
Now, for millions of people, this isn't some sci-fi story. It's just a life.
Yeah.
So today, we're diving deep into air pollution. It's a really critical global issue, affects our health, our environment, frankly, the future of the planet. It's this challenge that, yeah, it's often invisible, but it's absolutely reshaping things in, well, profound ways.
It really is. And the way it all connects, it's quite something. Our mission today really is to give you a clear, sort of comprehensive understanding of this whole problem, to help you grasp not just what air pollution is, but, why it matters so much, and crucially, what practical steps we can actually take. We've really tried to distill the key factors, pulling together insights from lots of different research to break down the causes, look at the effects, and present some real solutions.
Yeah, consider this your shortcut to getting genuinely up to speed on something that's just getting more urgent. We're going to go beyond just the headlines, maybe uncover some surprising bits, and offer practical insights, hopefully help you understand it all without feeling, totally overwhelmed.
Yeah.
So let's kick things off. Unpacking the causes. Where does air pollution come from?
Wow.
Okay, so if air pollution is this huge threat, where's it actually coming from? I mean,
Yeah.
we often think of smokestacks, right? And, well, for good reason. But what are the main culprits here?
Right. Industrial activities are definitely at the core of it. And it's more complex than just smoke. We're talking huge emissions from sectors like energy production, especially, coal-fired power plants. They pump out lots of sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxides. Then you've got heavy industry steel mills, cement manufacturing, chemical plants. Each adds its own sort of mix of pollutants. Particulate matter, PM 2.5, they call it heavy metals like lead, mercury. What's kind of amazing, or maybe scary, is the scale. Did you know cement production alone? About 8% of global CO2 emissions.
Wow, 8%. That's more than aviation fuel you mentioned.
Exactly, more than aviation. And this intense activity, particularly where industry is growing fast, it's led to these, well, some call them apocalypses in big cities, like the Great Smog of London back in '52. Terrible event. Industrial coal, home coal burning. It literally choked the city. Thousands died. These aren't just little side effects. These emissions are baked into making so many things we use every day.
That really puts it in perspective. Okay,
Yeah.
but beyond those huge industrial sites, there's something else, something that touches pretty much all of us every single day, something most of us use or at least see constantly.
Absolutely. Think about all the vehicles on our roads, just the sheer number. Cars, trucks, mostly running on fossil fuels, right? They produce a lot of exhaust fumes, and those fumes, they're not just one thing. It's a nasty mix. Nitrogen oxides, VOCs, they call them volatile organic compounds, carbon monoxide, and crucially, that fine particulate matter, PM 2.5 again. These particles are incredibly tiny, like 30 times smaller than a human hair. Yeah, tiny enough to get past your body's defenses, deep into your lungs, even into your bloodstream, causes all sorts of problems. So every time a car accelerates or just sits idling in traffic, it's adding to it. In loads of cities, you see it, right? That thick layer of smog reduces visibility, tanks the air quality, causes breathing issues right away, and worse stuff long term. It's just this constant, widespread source hitting almost every city.
And it's not just what we're pumping into the air, is it? It's also about what we're taking out.
Yeah.
This might be less obvious for some people, but it's super important for the whole air quality picture. Almost like a double negative for the planet.
That's a really crucial point. Deforestation. Often overlooked, but critical. See, trees are basically nature's air purifiers. They're amazing carbon sinks. They pull huge amounts of CO2 out of the air through photosynthesis, store the carbon, and release oxygen, the stuff we need to breathe. So when forests get cut down on a massive scale for farming, logging, building cities, that whole vital process gets messed up. It's a double whammy, like you said. Fewer trees mean less CO2 gets removed, so greenhouse gases build up. Plus, deforestation often involves burning. That just releases all the stored carbon straight back into the atmosphere, along with other nasty stuff like black carbon. Think about the Amazon rainforest, or the lungs of the earth, they call it.
Right.
Seeing that cleared for cattle or soy, it impacts global carbon cycles and local air quality because of the fires. It just throws off the whole natural balance that keeps our air breathable. 2, the wide-ranging effects. Why should you care?
Okay, so understanding where it comes from paints a clearer picture. But the impact, that's where it really hits home, isn't it? What are these pollutants actually doing to us, to the planet? Is it just as bad for nature as it is for us?
Well, this definitely raises big questions about our own health and, yeah, about the survival of whole ecosystems. Air pollution poses serious, really wide-ranging risks to human health. breathing polluted air constantly day after day. It's not just annoying, it leads to some really serious conditions. We're talking direct links to things like asthma can trigger really bad breathing attacks and chronic bronchitis, that persistent inflammation in your lungs. But it goes way beyond just the lungs. Research keeps finding more connections, especially with long-term exposure to that PM 2.5. Those tiny particles get into your bloodstream, contribute to hardening arteries, increasing the risk of heart disease, heart attacks, strokes, even some cancers, like lung cancer, even in people who've never smoked.
Yeah, even cancer in non-smokers.
Yeah. And newer studies are even starting to link it to things like cognitive decline, neurological problems. And what's really critical is children, their lungs are still developing, and the elderly, often with weaker immune systems or existing health issues, they're particularly vulnerable. The World Health Organization estimates, well, millions of premature deaths globally every year are linked to air pollution. It's one of the biggest environmental health risks out there.
That's unsettling to think what it's doing inside us. But then the bigger picture, the environment itself. How does this invisible threat show up in nature? Are we talking about the same pollutants causing problems there too?
Absolutely. And in some ways, the environmental impact is even more widespread. Think about acid rain. Maybe you remember hearing about that back in the 80s.
Yeah, I do, vaguely.
Well, we've made progress in places like North America and Europe thanks to stricter rules on sulfur, but it's still a major issue elsewhere. Basically, when industrial pollutants like sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxides mix with moisture in the air, they turn into acidic rain, snow, fog. And the effect isn't just, a slightly sour shower. It fundamentally changes ecosystems. Acid rain leaches vital nutrients from forest soils, weakens trees, causes leaves to drop. It makes lakes and rivers too acidic for fish and other life to survive. Creates dead zones. It even corrodes buildings, statues.
Right, eats away at them.
Exactly. And then maybe the biggest environmental impact. Air pollution is a major driver of global warming. Many of the same gases polluting our air, CO2, methane, nitrous oxides, are powerful greenhouse gases. They trap heat in the atmosphere like a blanket. That leads to rising global temperatures. And it's not just about it getting a bit warmer. It fuels more extreme weather, longer heat waves, worse droughts, more severe storms, rising sea levels, threatening coasts, ecosystems. It's kind of a feedback loop, too. Warming can make pollution worse, like through more wildfires or dust storms. 3. Pathways to a cleaner future. Solutions and actions.
Okay, this can all sound incredibly daunting. The scale of it just feels huge. But the good news, right, is that there are things we can do,
Right.
both together and as individuals. It's not a lost cause. So what are the major solutions? What should we be focusing on as a society?
Yeah, connecting this to the bigger picture of societal change. Governments and industries, they have a massive role to play. Promoting renewable energy, solar, wind power is absolutely crucial. Unlike fossil fuels, these sources produce pretty much zero emissions when they generate electricity. But it's not just building them. It's about getting them onto the grid, investing in energy storage like better batteries to handle when the sun isn't shining or the wind isn't blowing. Upgrading the power lines, too. Governments can really speed this up. Things like subsidies, tax breaks for clean energy, maybe carbon pricing. Make renewables the cheaper, easier option. You look at places like Denmark, they've done amazing things with wind power. Shows what long-term commitment can achieve.
So it's a whole energy system shift, not just swapping one power plant for another. What about cities, where so many people live and breathe this stuff directly?
Exactly. Improving public transport is another key strategy, especially for cities. Making buses, trains, subways affordable, efficient, easy to use. Maybe adding better bike lanes, too. If you do that, you can seriously cut down the number of cars on the road. That means less exhaust, less pollution from traffic jams, even less noise. Cities like Copenhagen are great examples. Huge investment in cycling and transit really changed how people move and improved air quality a lot. Alongside that, you need strict rules for industries, really strict, making sure factories don't just meet minimum standards, but actually invest in cleaner tech, like scrubbers to remove sulfur, catalytic converters, maybe even exploring things like carbon capture. You need clear limits on what they can emit and real penalties if they don't comply. That pushes them to innovate. We saw the impact of things like the Clean Air Act in the US led to big drops in certain pollutants over time.
Right. But it's not just up to governments and big companies, is it? Policy and industry changes are vital, obviously. But what about our role as individuals? It's easy to feel kind of small against all this, but what practical things can listeners actually do in their daily lives?
You're absolutely right. Individual actions, especially when lots of people do them, really can add up. Simple habits can be really powerful, like just rethinking your commute. Can you take public transport, cycle, Walk instead of driving, especially for short trips. That directly cuts emissions. Good for your health, too. If you do need to drive, maybe look into an electric vehicle if that's feasible for you. Or just make sure your current car is well maintained, keep the tires inflated properly, that helps fuel efficiency. You can save a lot of energy at home too just by being conscious, using energy efficient appliances, turning off lights, making sure your home is well insulated, just generally using less electricity. Remember, less energy demand usually means less fossil fuel burning somewhere. Another really tangible thing, support green spaces. Plant trees in your community if you can. Like we said, trees are natural air filters. More trees mean cleaner local air, cooler cities too. And finally, just talking about it, raising awareness, sharing these ideas with friends, family, advocating for cleaner policies locally, that can really encourage more people to get involved and amplify the impact way beyond just what you do yourself. Outro.
Okay, let's just quickly unpack this one last time then. We've really seen that air pollution is, well, it's a serious, complex global issue, driven by industry, vehicles, deforestation, and the impacts are huge and severe on our health, on the environment, and from breathing problems and heart issues to acid rain and global warming. The consequences are pretty stark. But, and this is the important bit, we've also seen that through collective effort, big shifts like renewable energy, better public transport, tougher rules for industry, and also individual actions, planting trees, saving energy, it is possible to reduce pollution and work towards a healthier planet.
Yeah, what's really fascinating, I think, is that while the challenge is massive, the path forward is actually becoming clearer. It just needs urgent attention, continued innovation, and really a collective will from governments, industries, and us as individuals. And this brings up a really important question for all of us, doesn't it? What is the true value, the intrinsic value of clean air? And what role will you play in protecting it? Especially knowing that clean air isn't just nice to have, it's absolutely essential for life, for every living thing on this planet.
A powerful thought and a really essential one to consider. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into air pollution today. We really hope these insights give you something to think about, maybe inspire you to explore a bit more about how you can contribute to a cleaner, healthier future for everyone.